Ladies and gentlemen, the ASMR community is once again under attack by YouTube. They seem to be doing this huge AI purge of pretty much content creators who have links and whatnot in their bio. At least that's according to an article put out by 404 Media, where they asked YouTube representatives why they've been banning these ASMR creators. I remember when this story broke, I saw Roseasmr, who is a content creator I've seen around on YouTube for quite some time, and I've seen her work. You know, I've seen some of the things she posts. She does post some pretty provocative ASMR content. So I thought this was initially another wave of YouTube taking down quite controversial NSFW content creators who happen to do ASMR, but it seems to be more than that, as some people who don't really create anything not safe for work have been caught in the crossfire. You know, people who've been making things like hair cutting videos, or they do cosplay videos, right? I've covered a lot of ASMR drama in my time on YouTube. That was actually like one of the first types of videos I would do commentary about, was ASMR content, and how there is this strange little niche of, OF creators and whatnot who use ASMR and YouTube as a way to basically make PG versions of their content so that they can lure you into their other platforms. But again, this is one of those things where after some time, it seems that's not the case at all. Now, here's a copy of the notice basically all these creators have been receiving. We reviewed your channel carefully and confirmed that it violates our sex and nudity policy. We know this is probably disappointing news, but it's our job to make sure that YouTube is a safe place for all. How this affects your channel, we won't be putting your channel back up on YouTube. And of course, all these creators, this one is Roseasmr, have appealed and basically got the same type of appeal letter saying, yeah, we did review it again. Sorry about that. It did violate blah, blah, blah. Sex and nudity policy. Mind you, this creator, Rose, has been creating ASMR for 10 years. You're telling me this chick's been posting sex and nudity on YouTube for 10 years, and it took you 10 long years to finally crack down on that, right? Something just doesn't make sense. Something is completely wrong when it comes to AI's moderation. I myself have also noticed this. You know, I don't like to touch certain topics because some of them are just pointless to cover. I'm not a large enough creator where I'm able to just post anything and make lots and lots of money, you know, moist critical levels. When I make a video, I want to get paid for my work. Hot take, I enjoy being paid for the content I produce, and advertisements pay for my work. So if I post a video and I'm going to be talking about something crazy that YouTube's probably not going to like, in my brain, I know they're probably not going to get ad, because YouTube's moderation is like, hey, you know, that's not very good. Don't do that, blah, blah, blah. Mind you, you can turn on the TV right now and see movies that actually have sex and nudity, and there will be advertisements. There'll be Pepsi ads, Coke ads, Target ads, all kinds of ads for these crazy movies with blood, gore, and sex nudity. But God forbid, you know, an ASMR creator, Roseasmr, you know, post some videos of her feet or something. She definitely does post some like risky content, I would say. But again, I've seen worse on YouTube from people who are not banned, by the way. Now, again, this is coming from 404 Media, who is the only outlet that seems to have gotten any type of word from YouTube themselves revolving this situation, where a YouTube spokesperson themselves said that we terminated these channels for linking to content that violates our nudity and sexual content policy. Our external link policies apply equally to all creators across YouTube, and this action was taken in accordance with our long-standing policies, not as a change in policy or targeting of ASMR content. So of course, this would make me bust out YouTube Help, which is of course their guide to see all of the rules on YouTube. A lot of this is going to be censored because YouTube doesn't like a lot of the words on this page. Ironically enough, this is their website, right? This policy applies to videos, video descriptions, comments, live streams, audios, and any other YouTube product or feature. Remember, these are just some examples, and don't post content if you think it might violate this policy. Obviously, this is in reference to, of course, everything else that's on here. It's pretty obvious what should be on here. Things like nudity, things like, let's say you find a video on the hub and you want to come post it on YouTube. You're going to be rightfully punished for doing that because it's just stupid. It's obvious. The parts that doesn't make sense is right here, where it says what happens if content violates this policy. If your content violates this policy, we will remove the content and send you an email to let you know. If we can't verify that a link you post is safe, we may remove the link, right? So for talking links, this is the first part. Note that violative URLs posted within the video itself or in the video metadata may result in the video being removed, which is completely fair, right? Like if someone's linking to an adult website, that video should be indeed taken down. If this is your first time violating our guidelines, you'll likely get a warning with no penalty to your channel, which does not seem to be the case in this instance, where creators are just being completely wiped from the platform for having links in their bio, right? You have the option to take a training to allow the warning to expire. The 90-day period starts when the training is completed, not when the warning is issued. If you get 3 strikes within 90 days, your channel may be terminated. So this is where we get into this weird gray area where is YouTube literally punishing creators for the same thing based on multiple videos, if that makes sense, right? So obviously, if you are an OF creator or you have links to websites where you're creating additional ASMR, right? We all know what I'm referring to. Are YouTube really going to punish you? Let's say you posted 30 videos on YouTube and they all have a link to your link tree. Is that 30 violations? Because if so, I don't think that's fair. I think what YouTube should do is say, hey, all your videos had this link. We're not going to allow that. Here's one warning. Please never do this again. You know, YouTube allows you to basically copy a description to multiple videos, right? So if one day they just randomly decide that your description is inappropriate, they're going to give you a strike on every single video, which is probably why all of these creators are suddenly being banned, because in YouTube's eyes, they just committed 3 strikes or 30 strikes if they have 30 videos within 90 days, which is very stupid. And unfortunately, this is nothing new when it comes to YouTube. For example, this is literally from last year, February 3rd, whispered during a voiceover, and realized we may have just started an ASMR channel by accident, right? So they're referencing ASMR, and they're quickly community noted because they are well documented that YouTube TOS enforcement system has unfairly treated content creators for some time now, especially ASMR creators. And it links all these creators who have basically been either banned or had their content taken down and strikes issued onto their account for, mind you, just posting ASMR content. Again, this is just from a year ago. So it seems like in the course of a year, a few months, YouTube's course of action over ASMR has not changed whatsoever. Their filters are completely changed, completely new. Let's just say, hypothetically, you go to search, you type in like ASMR, ear, right? Ear eating, ear licking. That's one thing they completely crack down on, of course. I think it's interesting. I think it's understandable where YouTube's brain is, you know, someone, you know, doing like all that crazy stuff to an ear. It has its connotation. I can understand, but there are some people who genuinely do just create what they call triggers, and, you know, they might do certain triggers that just make people relax more, and it just happens to involve these certain things. So of course, you know, those creators get stuck in like this weird loop where they get punished based on the actions of like actual adult content creators. You know, people like the Cherry Crushes, people like the Lunar Rexes. Yes, a few adult creators have been taken down. I'm not really going to dive into that. I've given my thoughts on that in the past. I think that YouTube is creating a dangerous platform when they have things like age restriction and the ability to not put ads on your videos and whatnot, but at the same time, they also ban people for posting risky content, because like, if something's not illegal, right? If something is not like completely against YouTube's terms of services, I don't think they should be banned, right? That includes things like ASMR, right? I don't think someone licking ears and like, even if something is super like not safe for work. If there's not nudity, if it's not blatant, P word, I don't think it should be banned. I think that YouTube has a YouTube Kids, where kids can be safe and watch that content. And there's also a normal YouTube where you can hide content like this. I don't think people should basically lose their livelihoods and lose channels they've spent decades building because YouTube wants to randomly change their policies or randomly have some AI ban wave that takes out people who they think are creating content that fits into their little bubble of what they think is appropriate or not. Now, I want to know what you guys think, of course, down below about this whole thing. If you are a creator, I know many ASMR creators have seen my videos in the past about certain dramas and whatnot. I want to hear your feedback. Maybe my opinions on all this are completely wrong. I don't want people, especially like Roseasmr, to think, I have no issue with you, right? I have no issue with Gooner ASMR in general. I think that there's a time and a place, and I think YouTube also has a right to set boundaries, but I think that banning people for something as silly as having links and basically permanently banning people who have 10 years of experience on YouTube because they just randomly decided to enforce a policy that was super vague. It's weird. It's very odd. And I feel bad for all of you out there, truly, especially when AI is basically instantaneously banning you all in just a big wave, as if you guys are just horrible people, and it's okay, bye. And if, obviously the policies you guys are appealing, and YouTube doesn't really care. They're just having more AI probably review the appeals. It's just a really bad situation, but I want to know what you guys think down below. Thank you for watching. Bye.